Hey, Rippers. Good to see you again. I know it's been a while, and I apologize, but been out doing the things. The things I hope you're doing, and that we're all doing right now. It's really important that we be doing the things that not only get us more self-sufficient, but also bring us closer together as a community, right? And at your local community. I know for me, I've been out there working hard out in the yard and in the garden, trying to get that all together. The weather's been crazy. And then, of course, my fence starts falling over, and the neighbor decides now's the time that we need to replace the fence. So, believe it or not, we have one of those double fence things where it seems like somebody in the past didn't get along and built two fences. Doesn't make any sense. Again, division. It's always been here. We should know that. But we should also be working against it, right? We don't want to be divided. We need to be united, if you get what I'm saying. So, that being said, been out there working on that, trying to get that fence down, doing the best I can. And, I hope you're doing the same. Now, lately, more and more people I see, though, and it's kind of positive, I see more and more people that are becoming more self-sufficient, right? More and more people that are, doing the things, right? I've seen a shift a little bit. I see more and more people waking up. I see more and more people in chat helping each other, right? Getting together. There's a few get-togethers that are happening out there in the community. I think that's great. There's people always sharing in the community and helping other people out. I think that that's good, because right now you are seeing the division and getting us to fight each other and not see eye to eye on things, or even agree to disagree, those kind of things. That negativity is exactly what they want, and we've got to watch out for it, right? Because honestly, the more and more we allow it to happen, the only thing it does is really breed more negativity and division, right? And you'll see kind of key things out there. There'll be people that point out other people for fear porn, or for how dare you try to make a living when, talking and sharing your opinions or the news or anything else, right? Any of those kind of things, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It could be somebody pointing a finger saying, oh man, that guy always wears a purple shirt. He must be Illuminati, right? Just anything that they can to start pointing a finger to point out and get us divided, right? And we're going to see that more and more. But the truth is, there is no fear in being prepared, right? I think we all know that, right? Because for people that are prepared, when hard times come or events, and I hate calling it preparedness, because back in the old days, it was just called life, called living. It's what you did to pre-plan for hard times, no matter what they were. Back then, it could have been drought, famine, a bad crop, or a bad herd, get sick, whatever it may be. But they always planned to be able to span these events so that in the end they survived, right? And that's kind of what we need to get back to, right? Because in the pioneer days, nobody would, if you'd have looked at somebody and said, oh, what? You're canning? How dare you can? How dare you get other people to can? Why are you teaching that? That's just causing fear. There's no reason for it, because the general store here, oh wait, it's not done being built yet, but the general store here has everything we need, right? So the reality is that back in the day, that's exactly what it was. That's what it was to be self-sufficient, be a patriot. It was just called living, right? You were starting from back in the day when they started from the east and moved to the west, those people took everything they needed in a wagon, for God's sakes, and crossed the country knowing that they had everything they needed to get by, right? And I think that that's what we need to start doing more. Think about it. If the pioneers could carry everything they needed to make that long travel and all of the stops and the overnights and everything like that in order to be able to get to a place and build a homestead and start working the land and start growing, it's because they weren't distracted by all the things they're throwing at us right now. And I'm not just talking about the division type distractions. I'm talking about all the distractions of doodads and gadgets and what's-its and the widget, right? We don't need all of that stuff, right? They only concentrated back then on what we needed to survive, right? Um, but even back then, right? I got my notes here, right? Even back then, the government didn't want that. Just like they don't want it now. See, one thing you got to realize is that the last thing they want is for us to be self-sufficient. Because when you're self-sufficient and you don't need, whether it be need something actually from the government or a perceived need, which is really a want, right? When we don't need or want those things anymore, they have really no power or control. And they start losing that as well as wealth, right? Because when we realize that we don't need all of the things we think we do and are just happy with what we have and happy in knowing that we have things put away, like CFP does, right? Putting all that stuff away gives him a sense of security, not a sense of fear, right? Right. That's what we need to be doing, right? And anybody, I don't care who it is, and I'm not pointing any fingers at anyone, but whoever is against that is really for the enemy, right? Because either whether they are directly being influenced or paid for or whatever by the people that mean to control us, or they've just fallen for the influence and the manipulation, right? To work as useful idiots for the people that mean to take away our rights and freedoms, right? And they started early on, way back then, by getting us hooked in things like, I don't know, credit, right? Right. Living above our means, right? Right. If we all didn't do that, well, I think you'd see the boot come down real quick because they would be the ones that are afraid. And honestly, the people that sling these kind of division or negativity and try to are infighting and keeping people separated, they're the ones that are truly fearful, because that is exactly what a wild animal does. We're no different, right? Except we can think, and we should do that more often. We don't do it enough, because whenever you corner an animal like that and stuff like that, what's the first thing they do as a defensive tactic? They lash out, right? They bite back. Usually I find, at least this is my experience, but my opinion is the people that bring others down and lash out at them and try to cause division and demean others and defame others and all of that kind of stuff. And again, not pointing the finger at anybody, but this stuff is going on and is going to ramp up, so we need to pay attention. But the people who do that do it because they feel afraid, or that they're missing something, or their feelings are hurt, or they're insecure about something. That's just human nature. It doesn't mean that we can't rise above that, right? And it's easy to do. Simply being kind is one way, right? Because the more we do that and bring people together, you'll see that the more that division and that negativity and that nastiness comes out in the people that are truly fearful. Whether that be an individual or the government, you'll see it, right? So, let's not be useful idiots. Let's be smarter than that. Let's rise above and think about these things, right? And I've been seeing that, like I said at the beginning. I've been seeing that an awful lot lately. There's always going to be some who want to cause that division and negativity and infighting. But for the most part, I see a lot of intelligent people out there. People that see what's really going on, not only in the world, but in YouTube or wherever, in your neighborhood, in your community, and see it for what it is and rise above it, right? And they don't give it much time or energy, and they just focus on the people that they can help, the people in their communities that when things do get bad, they know that they can count on to be there for them, right? To stand side by side with them as patriots if that time comes. And I should say if and when that time comes. Because I believe it's drawing nearer the more and more, especially that we keep dividing ourselves from each other. They keep fighting each other, right? Because that's the plan. We got to be smarter than that. And I know that you all are because I see it out there, right? So that being said, boy, I'm hitting my notes here real good. That's a good thing. Speaking of using our minds, preppers do use their minds, right? I know a lot of you out there are really putting food away. You're buying food now so that you can avoid the price hikes coming up. Just even that, even if it's not a disaster situation, putting food aside that for long term that you know you can use helps stave off the effects of the price increases and the inflation that we see coming, whether that even be gas now. Now we are hearing that diesel fuel is a big issue, right? We're hearing that these plants are having these major issues and catastrophic situations that happen in processing plants that are affecting things, from the shipping thing to the local conflicts or the overseas conflicts, right? They all add into it, and they're all relative, right? And we should be aware of it. And anybody that's bringing awareness to that should be supported, right? Not shunned. And as far as making money at things, well, shame on anybody that shames anybody that has good character and is really only sharing things that they believe in and stand behind and are willing to put their name to, right? It's another story if you're actively, and here's the key word, the intent is to defraud other people or to manipulate or take advantage of, right? If the intent isn't there and the people are honestly trying to do their best, not only to support themselves, but their families, their communities, and their neighborhoods, and then they also go on and try and help other people, well, then I'm all for it, right? Because honestly, that is the intent. That's what we all should be doing, right? I only hope that someday that I would be able to get to a point where I can do something like, say, Alaskan Prepper does, right? And has the kind of support that he has so that he can not only take care of himself and his family, but also give back to not only the community here, but also in his local community. That's amazing. That is actually a trait that all the people that mean to do us harm, the power mongers and the people that could do more, right, but don't, or have figured out good buddy, what do you call those? Good buddy loopholes that they can get through and stuff like that, so that they don't really have to, but still look like they are, right? But that's the minority. We're talking about less than 1% of the people out there have most of that power, right? And that's one of the biggest problems, because their corruption has oozed down into everything. And the only way we can do it is by all of us being not that and standing as one, right? So that being said, you shouldn't be knocking people just because, I mean, I'm not monetized, right? I don't sell anything here. And I haven't. It's not to say that I couldn't and that it wouldn't be useful and that it wouldn't help with the channel and having more time to learn how to edit and do things like that and do better videos and have more time to spend on it and things like that, as well as doing the things that I need to be doing, that you need to be doing, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? And I hate the idea that I would think that somebody would try and shame me for that, because I know I'm not that, and I know I'm better than that, and I know that, and I have security in knowing that the people who know me know that. So I really don't have to worry about it, but it's a shame that it's even a thought because of people making it a thought, right? See, that's their plan, right? As long as we're fighting each other, we will never, ever beat the people that need to be, right? Okay, that being said, if we look around, I don't think it's hard to see that everything is kind of falling apart, as we talked about earlier. Examples Just even here locally, I think we can all see them. I mean, my Mother's Day dinner was incredibly ridiculous. The fact that you can't even get a burger for under $15 is ridiculous, right? Even at the fast food places, the prices are ridiculous, right? Not that I eat there a lot, but just saying. The fact that we can't get food to make it for ourselves for under that is ridiculous, right? The fact that trucks are sitting because we don't do anything here anymore. We've become complacent, right? We don't make anything that we need to keep things going, to keep the infrastructure going, to keep the supply chain going, right? These are all direct results of what we all have allowed to happen. And we all are the answer to making it stop, or to get on the road to recovery, I should say, right? The fact that places can't find workers. I mean, literally, there are places, especially in things like medical, that if you have a pulse, they'll take you. How scary is that, right? Training doesn't matter anymore. Just breathing and being able to stand on 2 feet matters. That's absurd, right? And that's because of this social experiment, if you want to call it that, but basically where society has gone, where everybody just thinking that they can sit at home, right? And everything will be okay, because that's what they want. Mark my words, things like the digital dollar, a UBI is coming. Sure, they're going to offer you free things like we're going to forgive your debts, and we're going to give you free schooling, and we're going to give you a basic wage to stay at home, right? The UBI, like I said, so that you can cover your basics, right? And if we need you, then we'll hire you to work elsewhere, and we'll tell you where we need you at, right? But we're also going to give you all kinds of, I mean, they'll offer, like I said, free schooling and all of that, health insurance, free health care, all of that kind of stuff. But the trade-off will be that you have to give up your privacy and your freedoms. If you don't think that the digital dollar is going to take away your privacy and your freedom and give them to control to decide what you can and can't buy, when you can buy it, how much you can buy, and shut you down if they think that you're not doing what they want or you owe them money. See, it doesn't work. It's not innocent until proven guilty anymore. It's guilty until you can prove that you're innocent, right? But the proof's all going to be with them, and so is all the control. So if you guys, I mean, as it is now, you can protect yourself by taking your money or something of worth and hold it and protect it. But once you give it up digitally, that's not going to happen anymore. And once it's done, how are you going to be able to secure yourself anymore from them knowing everything you buy, as well as being able to turn it off whenever they want, right? So if we want to talk about truths, let's talk about the fact that they're going to probably ask you to give up all of your ownership in property, just like we've heard them say, us useful leaders are going to own nothing and be happy. These are all words that they've said, and that we all need to be aware of, because they're going to drive us into the desperation, the kind of desperation coming up that's going to get people to say, okay, I comply. Sure, I'll take that deal. What, you're going to forgive all of my ownership? Well, I don't really own much anyway, so why not? Right? But from that point on, you're going to be at their mercy, meaning you're going to rent everything you want, right? You're going to basically be sitting at home until they say you can go somewhere, right? These are all things that could possibly happen. And if you say, well, that'll never happen here, that's just being ridiculous or exaggerating things. Well, it's happened in other countries when these kind of things have come, right? Right. I think we can see the writing on the wall. And all of these things are to get us to accept that. Now, whether there's some big reason why, like they know of some catastrophic event or they have a plan or an agenda, we're never going to know that. But what does it matter? It still doesn't make it right. If they do, they should say, right? And if it's the fact that it's just an agenda, well, we better darn well be ready. Just saying. So that being said, the key to it is being self-sufficient, getting back to making things in this country and needing less, right? Or I should say wanting less and only getting and doing what we need to be doing, right? At least for right now, okay? Until things change. And I guarantee you what you will see when we all start getting, if we can get to that point to where we're all on the same page, or at least agreeing to disagree, and we're working together as a unified populace, right? And we don't need them as much because we're doing the things and becoming self-sufficient, you will see, mark my words, the manipulation ramp up. You will see the fear in those people, and they will start ramping up, causing division and causing people to be desperate and things like that, right? And that will be your key to know that you're going the right direction, okay? So what we need to do, like I said, is get back to the basics. And what we don't need to do is doing anything that divides us. And there's a difference between looking out for each other and causing division. And I think you guys are smart enough to know that, to where I don't need to spell it out for you. And I think people are smart enough these days to know what is truth versus what is not. And I know it's harder to decide these days because of things like, I don't know, the Smith-Mundt Act that hasn't allowed, or that basically makes it so that they can put lies out in any format, right? There's no rules against it anymore. So that being said, we certainly don't need to feed into it. So be out there doing the things to get you as self-sufficient as you can. And I know it's not easy. I know it. And if you have challenges and struggles or things that make it hard for you to do that, get part of a community that can be there for you and help you do those things, right? Because that's what we need to be doing, is being there for each other, right? That's what Americans do. That's what patriots do, right? We stand up and stand beside and lift people up. It's not a handout. It's not doing it for free. And it's not selling out. It's what it is to be American, in my opinion. So that being said, let's talk about the fun stuff. We have got, well, I was out paying too much for Mother's Day stuff, which is ridiculous. But I really didn't do much. I mean, you have to, do the flowers and the card and things like that. But even those things are ridiculous these days. But that being said, I'm always keeping my eye out for a deal on things that, are useful, things we should be putting back, including ammo. We're going to talk about some ammo in some upcoming videos, right? We've got some specials coming up where we're going to have projects in the Rip Curl Readiness at the range. We've got project rifles coming up. One of them is going to be the 223, and the difference between M855 and M193, right? The 55 grain versus the 62 grain penetrator, right? And how to match it to your rifle so that you get the best that you can, right? That you're, what kind of AR-15 or rifle is best for these rounds, right? Where do they really shine? What were they meant for? Those kind of things, right? That's going to be fun. I always like that kind of stuff. And I love building project rifles, right? And we're going to do it on the cheap. We're going to do it out of stuff that, as I was going through and sorting through things I don't need, that I can either sell in order to put back money or to give to people that could use it, right? Those kind of things. Or just to haul it off to the dump and get it out of the way so that we're more streamlined. Part of being self-sufficient, right? As well as in the garden. Well, tell you what. I look for these things that I have that are in boxes that I haven't either gotten to yet or seen for a while or even forgotten that I had. We all have these things. We're human. Well, we're going to go ahead and do ourselves a project with those things as they come up. So stay tuned for the videos coming up. We got some fun stuff. You're going to love the first one, right? Okay, so that being said, was out and I found some good deals out on the ammo, right? 10 millimeter right here, right? It was at Coastal for $24.99 a box. That's a hard one. We need to be out looking for the hard ammunition to find that we may have, right? The things that's not as common and things that are on sale right now before they start petering out. Now, there's plenty of ammo out there. I'm not going to say that it looks like it's all going away, but what I will say is the prices are ridiculous. So when we can, we should get what we need, right? And I don't have a whole lot of 10 millimeter. So not only did I get one for me, I got one for a friend I know will want it and he can pay me back, right? That's the kind of things we need to be doing for each other. I have this round, which is one we'll see in a video that is really interesting, and hopefully we can test it on some body armor. You know, not sure. Depends on how much support I get and stuff like that. But if I can get some maybe some blem body armors that are just visually not nice that they'll allow me to test, well, we're going to try at least, right? But this 22 TCM, which is a bottleneck, basically it's a 9mm super neck down to a 22 caliber bullet. Now it's a fast moving gun. We're going to see what makes it special, right? But it's hard to find, and they had that for basically roughly about $20 a box because there's 100 rounds here. So there's 250 round boxes. So that was at Sportsman's, believe it or not. They were clearancing it out. So be looking for the clearances of the odd ammunition, right? The stuff that they maybe don't want on their shelves. And of course, we had I got a box of 855 because it was like $12 a box. And keep an eye out too, because the bulk boxes when they go on sale, aren't always the best deal. I found that sometimes when, say, a 150 round box of 855 goes on sale for $109, it's actually cheaper to buy the 20 round box, as much to add up to 150, right? Right. So keep an eye out, Dad. Always do the math. Don't always think the sale is really a sale, right? Sometimes you'll find if you buy it by the individual box, it's cheaper. Also got some 8, since we're going to be doing some testing, got some M193, right? Then I also got some 5.56 Frontier in 55 grain full metal jacket, right? These were all at Bi-Mart. These were like just a little over $12 a box. These were about $12 a box of 20. Also be looking out when you can find it, because it's going to start disappearing, is the Russian Tula ammo, because it's usually a good price. And it works just fine, and it's good to store. So get this stuff here. This was $308, and it was like $13 a box. And that was one thing that Bi-Mart told me is there's not going to be really any sales anymore. They're just going to price their ammo as low as they can while they can, right? Because they expect ammo to start drying up. That was their words. I don't know if there's any truth behind it, but it is what it is. So that being said, look out for that as well. Also, if you can find this, I found this, look for things that are mismatched or not. I took this, and just to show you how quickly this stuff can go, I got 4 boxes of this Super Maximum Aguilera, or whatever you want to say it, at 1700 foot per second, 30 grain, 22 bullet, just 22 long rifle. Stuff's smoking. I grabbed 4 boxes because that was my budget at the time, and I hid the others behind the others because it didn't have its own spot. It was all mixed in, so I sorted them out and scooted them behind. And what do you know? Somebody still found them when I went back to go get more, because this ammo is worth saving up. It was, I think, about $7 a box, so it was also lower than you'll find it anywhere else. But people are out there looking for it. They understand now and know what it is. So be looking for those kind of things and get them while you can, right? So, and they had to dig. Let me tell you what, I hid that stuff. You know me. Anyway, also, make sure you have at least, I know it's hard to bite the bullet on this stuff, but at least a couple boxes for your calibers that you carry. Like this is, I got 380 here, because sometimes I carry 380, and I got some of the 50 grain lightweight bullets moving at 1500 foot per second hollow points, and then the Barnes X, which is a solid hollow point that opens up and retains most of its weight, 80 grain bullet moving at 990, I think it is, or something like that. Yeah, 990 feet per second. It wasn't too bad. It's, you know, right around 20 something for a box of 20, but it's good to have some good factory ammo in the guns you're going to carry, right? So that way you know you're going to get the performance you need. All right? These aren't things you necessarily practice with. That's a different kind of ammo, but you want to have some good ammo for your carry firearm. So that being said, that was my score for ammo. And I hope you guys are looking forward to the videos that are coming up, and you stay tuned, right? Because they are coming, and I'm looking forward to doing them. Till next time, stay safe, stay secure. Always be aware of your surroundings. Really think about what we were talking about or what I was talking about earlier. And if you've got it, or be getting secure, ready and prepared for anything that may come our way, right? Living like we used to, right? That's the key. And if you got it, carry it. And if you're carrying it, get out there and use it and practice. Not only have some fun, but do it for the safety of yourself and others. Adios.